Look, I like Smash Bros a lot, but you gotta admit, when it comes to some of these characters' movesets, they're a little outdated. Look at these movesets we've got in Smash Ultimate. Look at Steve, how he can place blocks all over the stage. Look at someone like Hero, who's got a whole menu of moves to choose from, and that's just one move, his down B. So there's a lot of cool things that are being done with Smash Bros characters now. But I feel like there's a lot of characters that could use an improvement. Well, I think about this a lot, and so much so that I just went ahead and fixed all of them. Some more than others, but I did fix, or at least talk about, every single character in Smash and how they could be fixed. So enjoy. Enjoy me fixing every single Smash Bros. Character's moveset. Comment down below what you would do to fix your favorite character in Smash. Look, don't get me wrong, Smash is one of the greatest crossovers to ever exist. But why do the characters that we're excited to see not really feel like the characters we're seeing? For example, Mario. What does he do in his Smash moveset? He kicks and punches. He's got a fireball. He's got his flood. And he's got his cape from Super Mario World. Oh, so you can use that to fly. No, he just hits things with it and they go the other way. When people go in to play Smash Ultimate and they see all these characters on their roster, they just don't feel like themselves. Mario's got a bunch of punches and kicks, some references from like Mario 64, Sunshine, and the original Super Mario Brothers, but that's really it. And I understand that he was kind of designed to be a showcase of how Smash works, but he could be so much cooler. He could be so much more fun. And he's still the same way he was designed in 1999. I could have understood this moveset being this way in 1999. Still, in 2024, it's the same thing with a couple changes. Why? Well, to answer that question, I don't know. But today, what we're going to do is fix some of that. All these older characters, and some new ones who should have gotten a better moveset, one that's more faithful to their character and their games, we're going to fix their moveset today. And there are a lot of characters in this game, so I won't be spending as much time on some characters as other characters. I'm going to lean into the characters I know about, and if I'm honest with you, this might have to be a series or a two-parter because there's a lot of characters in this game, and there's a lot of changes that I would make. So I'm going to start with some of the characters that desperately need it the most. I will only be going over the returning characters that I kept in my roster concept, so if you haven't watched that video yet, check it out. I've talked about this in previous videos, but in this Smash game, I want every character to play uniquely. I don't want 4 Fire Emblem characters that all play basically the same. I don't want semi-clones. I want there to be a genuine reason why you pick each and every character in this game. Again, Mario has had the same moveset basically since 1999. They did change his down B and Brawl to be a water hose to go along with his cheese slice, and made his down B his down A, but not really. And it's been the same ever since. Hasn't been touched since the Wii, the console that had this game on it. It's a shame. So what I would do to fix that is give him Cappy from Odyssey. I feel like this is a no-brainer at this point to give him Cappy. Odyssey was a big hit. Cappy only works as a weak projectile on the ground, but that weak projectile can also deflect projectiles, just like it can in Odyssey. But if you use it in the air, you can throw the hat and tap the B button again to dive on the hat to give you an extra jump. Because any way to incorporate Mario Odyssey's mobility and Smash, it needs to happen. It's a great game. Play it if you haven't. I feel like giving him the ground pound for his down air is also a no-brainer. I mean, his down air now sends him up and spins in a circle. Doesn't make a lot of sense. So let's give him his ground pound. For his nair, let's give him the spin from Galaxy. This could act as a good combo tool and also give him a little bit of extra height, helping his recovery, which Mario desperately needs, so that and the addition of Cappy will greatly improve his recovery. I also feel like we should incorporate more Mario power-ups into Mario's moveset. Maybe give him a Tanuki Tail down tilt, or a Propeller Mushroom up tilt, or up air. But I also want to see some power-ups in his specials as well. So Mario's current Fireball, I wouldn't change that at all. But what I do want to do is give him a question block for his down special. This will give him a random power-up from that question block that will affect his neutral B. So instead of using his Fireball for his neutral B, whenever he has a certain power-up equipped, say he gets the Ice Flower, he shoots ice out of his hand instead of fire and freezes his opponents. I don't want to make it so when Mario doesn't have a power-up, he doesn't have a neutral special. So his fireball will be his default. Like when he spawns, he already has that equipped. But you can incorporate a lot of different power-ups to this question block. You can give him his bubble flower from Mario Wonder, his ice flower like I previously mentioned, maybe a mega mushroom that will temporarily increase its size. And I don't know if this would be an RNG thing where you just have to hope you get a good power up, or if it would be a rotation, or if it would be on a wheel that you could choose from. I would like to see a little bit of RNG in there. I play hero, so I'm not really afraid of that. I can't wait to get hated on the comments because I said I main hero. It's in my bio. It's in my YouTube channel bio, so I've already put it out there. But yeah, maybe you can make it a RNG thing where it's random, or maybe it would depend on how well you're doing in the match. Kind of like in Mario Kart, how if you're a little bit behind, you'll get a better power up. Maybe you get an increased chance to pull a superstar out of the block. But yeah, there's a lot of power ups they can include, and there's a lot of ways they could go with that. And I have a lot of ideas for Mario specifically. So if you want to see a video where I make a whole moveset for Mario, make sure to like the video so I know you guys want to see that, or leave a comment down below, either one. By the way, Mario also needs a new Final Smash. His current one is just a bunch of generic fire, because, oh, the fire flower, but it doesn't function like anything does in the Mario games. So he needs a new Final Smash. I was thinking he gets the star power up in a cutscene type Final Smash, and he runs all over the screen, you know, and enemies are being constantly stunned. Kind of like Sonic's Final Smash in a way. Then he ends on a powerful punch. Kind of like the end of, honestly, kind of like the end of the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Either that or the T-Rex from Odyssey would work too. Now it's time for Luigi. Luigi needs help. I hope he's okay. No, I want to see Luigi. I want to see him be a little bit less like Mario. I mean, you still need to have those similarities because that's part of Luigi's design. Is he's Mario, but a little bit different. You still have the same, you know, run and jump and stuff. So he jumps higher than Mario and all that stuff, but I want to see more references to Luigi's Mansion. I think you do a full Luigi's Mansion based moveset for him instead of just having just a grab. For his neutral special, he could pull in opponents with his Poltergust 3000. And he'd keep them in there for a little bit, and the ghosts that are in there are kind of building up damage while they're in there. And then he could just shoot them out with another press of the button. For his side B, he could use Luigi from Luigi's Mansion 3. I like to imagine it's basically Ditto, but you know, he's green like the color Luigi is. And he copies your attacks, but they're like slightly delayed, so that would lead to some interesting setups. You could basically Ice Climbers combo with him, kind of. Hopefully that's not too broken. And for his Final Smash, we could see Luigi running away from King Boo, and he grabs his opponent and shoves them in the way, and then King Boo traps Luigi's opponent into paintings like the bad ending of Luigi's Mansion. Neat to see like unique character art for each one of these paintings. That would be really neat. So now we're on to Bowser. Bowser has a lot of generic moves in this game. I want to see him lean into more of his goofy side from the Mario games, and also see him incorporate more of his minions like Goombas and Koopas. For his side B, he could, kind of like King Dedede and Brawl, could throw out a Goomba or a Koopa on stage, and they could just wander around the stage like they do in Mario levels. And I like to think there's also an RNG element of that where normally you get a Goomba, sometimes you get a Koopa, but very rarely you get like a Hammer Bro. And they kind of act like stage obstacles, but they only last for so long. I also want to see a new recovery move for Bowser because his current one kind of sucks. And Bowser already is not great in the air and doesn't have great mobility, so he needs to get buffed in that regard. For that, I'm going to give him his like Koopa clown copter thing that he's always flying around in. I like a thing that sends him up for just a little bit and then like stalls and then just like crashes and falls and starts smoking and stuff. It'd be a good reference to all the Mario games and also buff Bowser's recovery because he needs it. For his neutral special, I think it should still be like fire, but I think it should be slightly tweaked. It would be tweaked to where it's more of a fireball based projectile than just him shooting fire out in front of him. You could also do a thing where the longer you charge it, the more it grows into a big fireball. Maybe the first stage is like two small fireballs kind of crossing each other and going across the stage kind of slow. And step 2 of this charging move is him doing his current fire breath where it's all just in front of him. And then the third step would be him charging, and then once it's fully charged, you can hold the charge. And it's like a big fireball that's large and powerful and fast that shoots across the stage. The type of fireballs you see in New Super Mario Bros. And it would be a long-ranged, heavy-duty projectile, just like Samus's fully charged move and Hero's fully charged special move. It'd give him a lot more range that way. And can we just have a dry Bowser ult, please? Like, it'd be so easy. I've already done like Mario, Luigi, and Bowser, so I think I'm just gonna kind of stick in the realm of Mario characters for just a little bit. I want to see Peach incorporate a lot more Toads into her moveset. It'd be cool if some of her smash attacks were like them protecting her. I know her current neutral special already has Toad like taking a hit for her, but I think you could have more references to Toads like throughout her moveset. I just want to see more of Toad because he's cool.
I just don't think he has enough going for him to be his own character.
Screw you, dude.
Who said that?
Hero's a lame character.
Peach also has a new game coming out fairly soon, so it'd be cool to see her have some abilities and moves from that game. I know she has a lot of different personas in that game, a lot of different, first of all, like character alt. That'd be cool for some alts, would be her in those different costumes from that game. But it looks like she does a lot in those games, so it'd be cool to see her turn into Chef Peach, or what is she? She's like a musketeer and a cowboy Peach, I think is. I don't know. Just as long as she gets some new moves from her new solo game, I'll be happy. Now we're on to Daisy. So like I said in this video, I want Daisy to be a full newcomer in this next game. And I talked about her moveset a little bit in that video, like I said. So if you want to know how I want Daisy to play, check out that video. Now we're on to Yoshi. I don't really hate Yoshi's moveset currently, but I do want to see him get rid of Egg Roll. It's dumb, it doesn't really do anything. Let's get it out of here. It's not really a reference to much. What I want to do for his side B is actually move his current up B to his side B. I think that makes a little bit more sense for him throwing eggs in a certain direction. And I also want to give him a new recovery option. You could go one of two ways with this. I think you could go with his dragon transformation that he used to have for his final smash, or you could go a little bit goofier and make him transform into the Yoshi Copter. I need this in the next Smash game. If I don't get Waluigi or Master Chief, that's fine. Just give me Yoshi transforming into the Yoshi Copter. That's all I want. Now we're on to Wario. Give my man Wario his shoulder bash as a special move. I know people like the bike, but put his shoulder bash in the side special. Maybe move his bike to the neutral special and make his waft be more of a move that charges over time. Or he has a meter for it, or something. I just want to see his shoulder bash be a full special move instead of just a random dash attack. As for what else for him, I don't know. You could like throw garlic at people, maybe. Or just sit on him. Just sit on him. I don't know.
What are you gonna do, big guy? Sit on me? Don't tempt me.
That's all I wanted to see from him. Sorry, I had to get some water because DK's moveset is so dry and bland. Okay, answer me this. Why does DK not throw a barrel in his Smash moveset? It's right there. That's what he does. Make him throw a barrel. That's what he does. Just get rid of his current side B and make him throw barrels instead. That's what the people want. That's what the people need. I'm also going to give him a new down special. I'm going to have him get on Rambi from Donkey Kong Country. Just a really strong and quick move that has a lot of in lag. Kind of like Banjo's Wonder Wing. I also just want to see something different than the hand slap. Just make the hand slap his down air. Donkey Kong also desperately needs a new recovery move, because even though his current one is funny to use on stage for free super armor hits, it's not so good when you're trying to go up, which is what up specials are for. So just give him a barrel cannon. I think that makes sense. When you press up B, he would hop into a barrel cannon. The barrel cannon would go back and forth, left and right, until you push B again, and it would stop and shoot him out that way. That will help buff his recovery a lot, and he desperately needs it, just like Bowser does. And lastly, I will be changing his final smash to something a bit more iconic than a bunch of generic punches. Hear me out. So the character's name is Donkey Kong, right? What if we made his final smash a reference to Donkey Kong? You hit B and Donkey Kong launches you into a cutscene, And that cutscene is him throwing barrels at you from very top along some girders. Now we're on to Diddy Kong. I don't have much to change for Diddy Kong other than maybe his final smash being a reference to Diddy Kong Racing in some way. That's really it for him. I don't have anything else. Now we're on to King K. Rool. King K. Rool he's fine. He's a newer character, so he's a little bit more faithful to his appearances than older characters are. Just maybe give him some new alts based off his personas in the Donkey Kong Country games, or really just any new alts. Anything besides his appearance in Mario Baseball. Why is he wearing a diaper? I can make a whole video about how terrible that design is. That's how strongly I feel about it. You know who really needs a new moveset? This guy right here. He's been a Captain Falcon clone forever. Since May 2001. He's been a Captain Falcon clone since 2001. He got some swords in Ultimate, that's cool, but he's still a clone. And the game came out in 2001, so why can't we give him his own moveset? Look, I don't play a lot of Zelda, so I couldn't really tell you what to pull from other than some of his boss fights in Ocarina of Time, like when he's throwing the big energy balls at Link and he's hitting them back at him. Also, he could probably get a float, similar to what Project M did. He also uses a spear that he uses in different boss fights around the series. I don't know, just make him play like an evil god and not some guy whose fists get purple when he punches things. Just make him look cool. Make him feel like a evil, magic, all-powerful god. He needs to play closer to Sephiroth. That's what I'm saying, basically. Speaking of Zelda characters, Link could definitely use a fresh moveset. Give him a full moveset based off of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Having him use his glider as kind of like a Peach float, where if you hold up, he pulls out his glider for a brief second, not too long. Have him use the runes that he uses in Breath of the Wild, like the bombs like he currently has, as well as Magnesis and Stasis, as well as Cyanosis. He could also use some of the champion's abilities that he learns in Breath of the Wild, like Rivali's Gale for an up special, Urbos' Fury for a lightning-based projectile, and even Mipha's Grace for some kind of healing ability. It would also be cool to see him have a mechanic that allows him to gather things on the stage to use to his advantage later. Maybe he can slowly improve his gear by collecting things on stage, something like that. Also, he could be able to climb up walls, maybe not for very long, and his climbing ability and his gliding ability should have that meter that you see in Breath of the Wild. That way, it won't last too long. Neither one of them will, because they'll be tied into the same meter. And if you could make him fuse things together like you can in Tears of the Kingdom, that would be cool. I don't know how you would allow him to make things or fuse things, but if you could find a way to incorporate that in his moveset as well, that would be pretty cool. Zelda's mostly fine. Just give her some abilities from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, as well as an alt for her design in those games, and you should be good, honestly. I just went to the worst drive-in restaurant the other day. Speaking of which, somebody who also needs a complete overhaul of their moveset is Sonic. Ching! Most of Sonic's moveset now is ball. He curls up into a ball for a lot of his moves. And I understand why his moveset was like that in Brawl, but enough time has passed now where we can give him references to his games besides Sonic 1, 2, and 3. For his side special, you could give him his boost mechanic, and he would get a meter by his character portrait. Shows him how much he has left. It'd also give him another recovery option, which Sonic's pretty good already. I don't know if he needs that, but it's there. You also see mods like Project M give him moves from Sonic Battle, like that cool bicycle kick thing he does. Give him some of those, why not? I just want some cooler animations like you see in those mods where he's hitting cool poses and stuff in between hitting you and comboing you, which is on brand for Sonic and how he acts. He kind of taunts his opponent. So it'd be cool to see him do that in Smash, just in the middle of the battle, just like laughing or mocking the opponent. If you could have some dialogue for each character, that would be crazy. I don't think that would happen, but that'd be cool. Also, please buff his Final Smash. Make it a cutscene Final Smash instead, because it's really bad right now. As great of a game as Smash Bros. Is, there's still a lot of things that could be heavily improved. For instance, the characters. A lot of them have stayed the same ever since the 64. And I think there's a lot of ways to greatly improve or modernize their movesets. So we're going to continue to do that. This is going to be part 2 of my series of changing characters' movesets in Smash Ultimate. So stick around to see how your main will change going into the next game. And please remember to comment down below, share your thoughts on what I've done, share your ideas for characters I haven't covered, or even characters that I have that maybe I forgot a couple things. It's very possible I did. So please continue to share your comments and remember to like the video and subscribe. So let's get on to the video. The first character I'm going to be talking about is someone I kind of forgot to cover in my last video, and that is Dr. Mario. So what would I do to fix Dr. Mario? Well, first of all, is change his Final Smash. His Final Smash now is a clear reskin of Mario's Fire Finale thing, just with pills. I thought what would make a little bit more interesting Final Smash would be basically you're sent into a game of Dr. Mario and pills are coming down at you. The player who's playing as Dr. Mario can like rotate the pills and stuff as they're falling down. Just really anything would be better than what he has currently. Also, something I don't like about Dr. Mario in Smash Ultimate is his taunts. Like, one's like a weird, he's just like stepping his foot into the ground, and one's like he's like punching his shoulder. I don't know what that's, I don't think it's from anything. It's just a random animation kind of assigned to a taunt is what it looks like. So do something. I mean, him throwing a pill up and grabbing it is cool, but just do something different. Maybe incorporate the viruses seen in Dr. Mario or something, you know, just give him something. Maybe him checking up on a patient, like a Koopa Trooper or something sitting in a chair. Something. You could do something a little bit more creative than him kind of just rubbing his foot into the ground. That's kind of weird to me. That's a weird choice. Like, just imagine you're going in for a checkup and your doctor's just standing there like, dude, she's dying. What are you doing? Help her. Please help her. Begging you. My mother is dying of cancer. Please do something. Oh my god, I'm alive. Mom? Oh, I feel so much better. Oh my god, she's healed. Oh, thank you, doctor. That's why you're the best in the biz. What? I would say there's 3 characters who need a complete moveset overhaul in Smash Bros. I would say there's 3 characters, probably Sonic, Ganondorf, and Samus. I think Samus is a lot more interesting than Smash Bros. Portrays her to be. She's kind of just the basic gunner archetype, but I feel like she could be a lot more faithful to her games. And I'd want her design in this game to be fully based off of Metroid Dread. Haven't finished playing it yet, but it's fun so far. It's scary. I'm not good at it. But yeah, Samus's moveset will be completely based off of how she moves around in Metroid Dread. And her design should reflect that as well. I want to see her Metroid Dread appearance being her alt. Maybe you could have an alt for her more classic designs. She could have her running slide as her dash attack, the one seen in Metroid Dread. I thought it'd be cool if her forward tilt could kind of be like Mega Man's, where she can shoot her arm cannon as she's kind of running around. She could use Spider Magnet to climb on walls, the wide beams to fire 3 blasts at once. She should also incorporate the Morph Ball in some way, either make it her crouch, where she can just, her crouch is just her rolling around in a Morph Ball, or maybe made into her full down special, where you can roll around and have full movement in the Morph Ball, and maybe as you're rolling around you could push A or something when you're in the Morph Ball state and drop bombs along the ground. Unlike her current down B, it would be more of you can drop bombs as you go along the floor instead of it laying a bomb and it stopping you. There's a lot else that could be changed. I'm not quite done with Metroid Dread yet, so I'm sure there's a lot of abilities I haven't learned yet, but Metroid Dread should be a big influence in Samus's moveset in the next Smash game. And Samus has a lot more potential than I think she utilizes in Smash Bros. Ultimate. Yeah, if Samus is to be heavily changed, then Dark Samus could kind of stay more of the same. Just give her a float mechanic. That'd be cool. Don't really know what else Dark Samus does, if I'm being totally honest with you, but just give her a float mechanic. That would kind of separate her a little bit more. Ridley is a newer character, so I think he's kind of okay. Doesn't really need a whole lot of changes. Can be mostly left alone, just maybe some tweaks in his animations and stuff. Maybe he could be made a little bit heavier. I don't know. I think he's fine how he is, so you don't really need to change him a whole lot. Now it's time for Kirby. For Kirby, I want him to incorporate a lot more of his copy abilities, his different copy abilities, into his aerials and stuff. I know he has a lot of like kicks and stuff for his aerials, but that would be a good opportunity to showcase a lot of his different copy abilities. I think it'd be better if you threw in copy abilities as his aerials instead of some generic kicks and spins and stuff. Maybe for one of his smash attacks he can turn into a car from Kirby's Forgotten Land, or maybe it's just one of his many references he has in his down B. Maybe for some of his attacks he can briefly turn into Yarn or Clay, referencing Kirby's Epic Yarn and Rainbow Curse. And there are a lot of copy abilities that would be great for his tilts and aerials, like his Beam, Bomb, or Yo-Yo copy abilities. Just want a lot more of his copy abilities displayed in his moveset. Now on to King DDD. Am I the only one who liked the randomness aspect of King DDD's side B and Smash Bros. Brawl? I feel like I associate him more with Wildies, so seeing him only hit Gordos as a side B is kind of strange to me. That being said, I want to keep the Gordos, I just want the Wildies brought back. Maybe there's a certain input that would allow you to select one, but pressing side B normally would just be a random luck of the draw kind of thing. For Meta Knight, I don't have anything specific. I just think he needs to be buffed. I feel like he's been kind of mid-tier since Brawl. He needs to be buffed, not this buffed, not that buffed right there. Doesn't need to be that good, but better than he has been in recent installments. Ness is fine. PK Fire is very annoying, and Ness, in my opinion, is a little annoying, but he's fine. If anything, just give him a different neutral B. I feel like I never see neutral B really used in competitive play, but also just casual play. It just takes a little long to charge. It's really only good for edge guarding every now and then, but Ness has so many good edge guarding tools that it kind of it's just not a great reason to use it. I don't know what you would give him, but give him something else in that spot. It's a little bit more useful than what he has now. I feel like it should maybe still be a strong move, but I'm not well versed in Earthbound, to be honest, so I don't really know what that would be, but a change would be good. This man is perfect. If he ever gets changed, we will riot. Captain Falcon is pretty much a Smash Bros. Staple, so if his moveset got changed in any way, we would riot in the streets. I don't think it's going to happen, so thank goodness, but I'd rather learn Wonderwall than change Falcon's moveset at all. And I hate Wonderwall.
Just power through. Dude, no, I can't, okay? I can't, I'm sorry, I can't. Falcon's gonna have to get replaced with Mr. Saturn or a gun. I don't know, okay? It's just not gonna be, I can't play Wonderwall.
We gotta keep filming this.
No,
man.
dude, no. You take that with you, take this with you, okay? I'm done. I can't do this anymore, okay? Sorry, Falcon Punt, the whole thing, it's gone, okay?
Now we're on to Olimar. Let's give Olimar some rock Pikmin. They can be his downer, providing a very powerful spike. You could also incorporate Otachi from Pikmin 4 and give Olimar a new alt inspired by Pikmin 4 as well. Also, I would just like Olimar's alts to be different characters found in the Pikmin series. Now we're on to Pit. Just give Pit his old side B as his jab or something. I don't know. But who knows, maybe his final smash will get changed for like the 4th time or whatever it is. For the most part, I should be done with what I was going to talk about in this video, but I do have some comments from our last video that had some good ideas. One was a comment about Simon, which I think I'm going to take for some inspiration because Simon, I don't know anything really about Castlevania. So I'm going to put his comment on screen here, somewhere over here. He suggested doing a similar thing to Byleth with his up B, which I kind of assumed that, like when Simon got revealed, that he would have a up B that kind of, he just, swings his whip and grabs the ledge. You can do that with his forward air, but you can only do that with his forward air. I don't think you can do it with any other aerial, if I'm not mistaken. So I think I agree with him there that you should have, or he should have, an up B that kind of latches onto the ledge. Give it some distance because Simon needs a better recovery than what he's got. He also recommends his final smash be something different from Grand Cross. Apparently Simon can't do that in his games. I had no idea that was a thing. Apparently can't do that in his games. He suggested his hype attack from Judgment. I don't know what that means. But I'm going to try to put it on screen here and showcase it, show what it looks like real quick. Yeah, see, I had no idea that he couldn't do Grand Cross. So, thank you, commenter. But yeah, I thought that was a good idea. I had another commenter talk about wanting to see Kirby, who I've already covered, Rosalina as well. Another Mario character I didn't cover. For some reason, I kind of left out Bowser Jr., Rosalina, and Plant. Plant, I think, is fine because he's a newer character. So I'm not going to do a whole lot to him. I honestly might just leave him alone. You could do something with Piranha Plant from Wonder, like the singing flowers or whatever. You could definitely do something like that for a victory animation or something. That'd be pretty cool. Okay, sorry, I got sidetracked, but back to Rosalina and Luma. Their side B, I feel like, is not the best move. Maybe you could change it to where the star bits are like raining down, like instead of just shooting at them. Seems pretty weak, so maybe you could make it where star bits are actually raining down. Also, Rosalina's Final Smash just needs to be buffed. Not very great. I always thought they would incorporate the Comet Observatory in some way, maybe in her Final Smash, so I was kind of surprised that didn't make an appearance at all. It's a pretty big part of her character, so I was surprised they didn't use that for a Final Smash. Maybe you could do the Grand Star for an up smash, and then have the Comet Observatory be a Final Smash where it like flies into like a black hole like it does at the end of Galaxy. Does a lot of damage. It could be like a cutscene Final Smash. And I'm going to be really honest with you, when it comes to Kingdom Hearts, I'm not overly well versed. The main thing I would want to see fixed in Sora's moveset is something that I don't know would ever be showcased in a Smash game, and that's the Disney characters like Donald and Goofy. It's not really surprising because of Disney, but it's a shame that they're not showcasing Sora's moveset at all, not even a victory animation or something like that. So seeing Donald and Goofy incorporated in some way, I think would make his character even more fun. Do I think it's ever going to happen because of Disney? No, I don't. But it would be cool to see. Maybe it could be a thing where like each alt has 2 different characters helping you out and coming in for smash attacks, something like that. One's got Donald, Goofy, one's got Woody and Buzz, that kind of thing. I don't think that would ever happen in a Smash game. You can dream, right? That's all I really know about Kingdom Hearts, so not a very long, in-depth talk about Sora, but that's what I would do with my limited knowledge. Now I'm going to briefly cover some ideas from the comments that were about characters I covered in the last video, so some changes that I didn't bring up that they'd like to see. This commenter right here suggested that Luigi have his electricity or like dream powers from Mario and Luigi series. I would love to see Luigi with like some electricity powers and it's like, or like electricity effects maybe in his aerials, like where it stuns you a little bit. That would be neat. That'd be a neat addition to Luigi's character. But yeah, I agree. That'd be a cool thing to see in the next Smash game. This commenter right here said that Mario should have a spike from jumping on the opponent. I feel like it's an obvious one. I feel like I should have come up with that. That's a good idea. Maybe you could make it where his up B has a hitbox where like if you're underneath Mario, it will send you down. That'd be cool. You can see in Mario's up B, you could see a little bit more of his iconic jumping pose, and his like foot that's on the bottom kind of sends opponents down towards the blast zone. So that'd be really neat. I think that's a good idea. We've got another comment here that says Luigi should have the ice flower. Like you leave the fire flower to Mario, but you give Luigi the ice flower. And yeah, that was a Smash 4 custom move. But yeah, you could probably like keep Luigi's fireball move, but give it icy effects, and then you could still give him his poltergust maybe as his down B. Luigi should definitely have some changes like that. Maybe you can go a little bit more all out than I described in my video, but you could go a little bit more all out in his specials as being all like Luigi's Mansion themed, like different uses for the poltergust. I saw that in another comment right here. Yeah, you could just have all those different specials be different ways to use the poltergust. Maybe you could even incorporate the poltergust into his recovery. I know there's like a ability in Luigi's Mansion 3 that like sends you slightly upward, but it doesn't give you much height. So you could kind of exaggerate that to give you more of a recovery, or you could have him shoot the poltergust kind of below his feet, and like kind of propel him upwards. That'd be cool too. I could do a whole moveset video about Luigi getting his poltergust. I think there's a lot you could go off there. But yeah, I think that's everything for this video. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys again for the support on the last video. I want to continue this series until we've covered all Smash Bros characters. So let me know down in the comments who you want to see me talk about, and Also, leave your suggestions and on how to fix them in the comments as well. If I don't know as much about a character or that series, I might use them in a next video, as long as you guys are okay with that. I'll definitely credit you and put you in the video. But yeah, if you enjoyed, please like the video, subscribe, comment. I want to hear what you guys think and your ideas and what you think about my ideas. Please continue to do that. You guys have been really supportive the last couple of videos, so thank you so much for that. I'm going to continue to upload, and you guys just continue to share your ideas and your thoughts and maybe what kind of videos you want to see from me in the future. So thank you guys a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. So bye. Today we are once again fixing Smash Bros characters' movesets, and let me just be honest with you guys for a minute. This is the third episode I've done, so we're getting to the point where we're getting to certain characters where I know less and less about them than the first couple of episodes. You know, the characters I knew a lot more about and knew where to draw inspiration from for new moveset ideas or alts or whatever. So we're getting very close to the point where I'm going to have to cover, you know, like Pokemon and Fire Emblem. So if you've watched the channel before, you know that's something that's just out of my comfort zone. Completely never played them, so that's going to be hard. We're getting to the point where I don't know a lot about certain characters or series, so I've been kind of struggling to get this video made a little bit because I don't know as much about these characters as I do about Mario and DK and Zelda and Kirby, so bear with me a little bit. Also, feel free to leave your ideas for changed movesets in the comments, even if it's characters I've covered before. Maybe I'll use it in the next episode of this. So if you got an idea for a character, how to change their moveset, let me know. And especially if those characters are from Pokemon and Fire Emblem, because yeah, I'm going to have to talk about Pokemon and Fire Emblem soon. Yeah, I know. Hopefully I'll make it out alive. Subscribe if you haven't, and let's get on to the moveset changes. So let's start with the character I have the most knowledge about left on the roster, and that is Steve from Minecraft. I love Minecraft, big fan, have been since the Minecraft parodies of whenever that was. I want to start by saying Steve is like one of the best designed characters in Smash Ultimate. I know a lot of people might get angry about that, but I think it's true. Even though he's like a top tier and kind of broken, Sakurai and his team clearly put a lot of work into this character and wanted him to feel like you ripped him out of Minecraft. From being able to place blocks on stage, being able to mine the stage you're fighting on, the blocks you get from the stage you mine them from actually match the material that you mined on that stage, which is kind of crazy. You can also upgrade your tools and get certain weapons depending on how long you've mined for in the game, in the match, and that's crazy. He's really insane from a design standpoint. Obviously that design ended up in him being one of the most broken characters in this game, but I don't think that was intentional. So as far as changes being made to his moveset, there really aren't a whole lot that should be made. There's more of like some tweaks and interesting additions that I would make. He's got an Enderman skin and a zombie skin. I think it would be cool to give him a creeper skin and a skeleton skin as well. Maybe instead of the 2 extra Steve and Alex alts. I don't know where you would do this, but maybe like a Herobrine reference somewhere. I know he's not an actual mob that's been in the game. I was scared of Herobrine like everybody else was as a kid, okay? And I want to see that. I'd also like to see some potions referenced in his moveset, like to be able to give yourself like quickness or extra strength for a very limited amount of time, as well as weakening your opponent. But now that I say that, I think that's probably like, that would make Steve as broken as Brawl Meta Knight, so I don't think we should do that. But it, somehow some reference to potions in that game would be neat. It would also be cool to see Netherite introduced to his like weapon rotation. So instead of Diamond being the best you can get in the game, it would be Netherite instead. This last one is probably my biggest complaint about Minecraft in Smash, is that the music that they chose was not like some iconic Minecraft music that we all love. It was kind of some remixes of Minecraft spin-off games or, you know, Minecraft series. And I think some of the music we got is actually phenomenal, but I will say I do miss some of the classic Minecraft music that you can listen to while you're playing actual Minecraft. Even though it's probably not the best music to have in a fighting game, it would still be cool to have 4 to 5 tracks from classic Minecraft be included in Smash, even if it is like a remix version that maybe ups the tempo a little bit. Next up is Pac-Man. Pac-Man, I think, has a very well-made moveset, and he kind of references a lot of different Namco games. He's kind of more of a Namco rep than he is for his home series. I think that's really cool. What I do want to focus on is his alts, because I feel like there's a lot of creativity that was left on the cutting room floor when it comes to his alts. I feel like his alts in Smash Bros are pretty disappointing compared to some other characters. I want to do more than just add oven mitts to his hands. My ideas for his alts include Miss Pac-Man, a blue Pac-Man alt based on the Pac-Man Ghost. When you get a power pellet, they turn blue. That would be a neat reference. And maybe his design from Pac-Man The Ghostly Adventures, that TV show, and like games that came out with it. That'd be interesting. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'd be disappointed if we didn't get that, but that's just something I thought of.
Between you and me, my hair is thinning a bit.
Oh, Your Highness, I'm sure it's not that noticeable. Bald! Bald!
It would be neat to see his final smash, instead of being like a giant Pac-Man that goes across the stage, throw opponents into an actual arcade cabinet, like an actual Pac-Man arcade cabinet, and they become ghosts and they're running away from Pac-Man as he's chasing after them. I thought that would be neat, kind of be a closer reference to the actual Pac-Man games. The opponents turn to actual ghosts and you're like seeing everything through an arcade cabinet. And last but not least, please bring back Pac-Maze. The fact that Pac-Land is our only Pac-Man stage in Smash Ultimate is very disappointing. I feel like the Pac-Man maze is the first place you'd think of to fight opponents on with Pac-Man and Smash, but we don't have that. It's just Pac-Land, and I don't feel like a lot of people played Pac-Land, so I think it's a very interesting choice. So I would like to see Pac-Maze back. I think a lot of people would. Okay, now we're going to jump into a segment called Retro Roundup. We're going to run through some retro characters who have very little source material, so probably won't get a whole lot of changes in the next Smash game, so we're going to run through them really quick. Wii Fit Trainer, maybe like a Ring Fit Trainer, Echo or Alt, and maybe you could use the Wii Fit balance board more. That's really all I got. Mr. Game & Watch, some more vibrant palette swaps. I feel like he always blends into the background of the stage. Mrs. Game & Watch Alt, I don't know if that's a thing, but sure. Ice Climbers. Use the veggies in the game as some sort of projectile. That's really all I can think of. Rob, give him a ancient minister alt based off the subspace emissary. I feel like that'd be pretty cool. Duck Hunt, give him the iconic Duck Hunt laugh as a taunt. He does one where he kind of lays on his side, but I want one that's kind of more one-to-one with the actual sprite from Duck Hunt. Little Mac, he needs improved aerials. He needs to be more viable in the air. I know he's kind of made like that on purpose, but just make him more viable. You can still have his aerials be bad compared to his grounded attacks, or not the best, but they need to be improved in some way. They need to be at least viable. Maybe have Doc Lewis jump in for some moves, like some combos. Maybe all of his victory screens could have a defeated Punch-Out boxer on the ground, like he just knocked him out and beat him up. Like have Glass Joe or Sandman laying on the ground like they just got knocked out. It'd be a cool way to reference more Punch-Out characters. If Isabelle and Villager both come back in the next game, I feel like they should be diversified a little bit, made to play a little bit differently, and not have as many shared moves. I think Villager should mainly have the same moveset, maybe just some updated alts, some new models and outfits from New Horizons. Isabelle, on the other hand, should be changed a lot more than Villager to kind of make her feel like her own character a little bit more. She should get more moves from Animal Crossing New Horizons, like the pole vault stick for an up smash or up tilt, or maybe a down air. And she should utilize tools like umbrellas, ladders, maybe certain furniture that you can get in New Horizons. You could have Isabelle quite literally come in and hit you with a steel chair. Now for Bowser Jr., who I kind of just neglected in the last two videos. I don't know why. The main complaint I see about Bowser Jr. in Smash is his final smash, that being Shadow Mario from Super Mario Sunshine. No one's saying that Shadow Mario is not a great reference for a Bowser Jr. final smash, and it's a great final smash, it's a great reference to Bowser Jr., but not so much a great reference to the Koopalings, who he's got different alts with in Smash Ultimate. And that doesn't make much sense since they weren't in Sunshine. I think it makes sense to give the Koopalings their own final smash. It's something Smash Bros. Has done before with Cloud, giving him a separate final smash with a different alt. Don't think it's too crazy to think that could happen with Bowser Jr. as well. One thing that the Koopalings are often associated with in the new Super Mario Bros. Games is their airships. They all have like their own individual ones with their faces on it and stuff. So their final smash could be using those airships. Basically, it'd be a cutscene final smash where each Koopaling kind of stalls their opponent in their own specific magical abilities, and their airship comes in and just crashes into whoever they're holding. Outside of that, maybe just give Bowser Jr. a paintbrush as some of his aerials. The main thing with Snake I want to see changed is Snake's got a cool moveset, but I think one thing they could definitely add to his moveset is more weapons than he has. He's known for using guns and all sorts of different weapons, but when he was introduced in Brawl, they weren't really sure if they could use guns like that in movesets, but with Ultimate that kind of changed, and you know, Joker just straight has a move called Gun. So I think that's a thing of the past. If he does come back in the next Smash Bros game, he could definitely pull out a gun or different weapons than just, you know, missiles and bombs. One thing I've seen in Project M is him have a trank gun where he fires a single shot at the opponent and causes them to briefly fall asleep. Not really like as long as like Jigglypuff's rest, but they're just asleep for a little bit, not too long. And he does have to like reload the gun, so it's not like you can just use it as many times as you want. You kind of have to keep track of your ammunition, and you have to reload whenever you're out of ammo, which I think is cool. Also, giving him a big boss alt I think would be neat. It's a pretty cool reference to Metal Gear. And for another alt, he could just have like a, you know, like a snake, like an actual snake. You know, his name's Snake. I never understood why he didn't have a snake alt. So yeah. Now for the Miis. The Miis are weird because they're, you know, customizable and stuff. So the only thing I would really change for the movesets is maybe giving some more customization, and really you've got a lot of customization, so maybe it'd be cool to see for certain aerials or smash attacks to have like a couple of options. You know, maybe not as much as the special moves, but maybe giving a separate option if you don't like their certain aerials or smash attacks or stuff. So if not, it's not really a big deal. It's just something I thought of that could work. But if not, you know, it's not really that big of a deal. The Miis have a lot of customization. So now onto Young Link. If Young Link doesn't get cut from the next game, which I do think he should, if he doesn't, it'd be nice to see him reference the many masks from Majora's Mask. It'd be cool to see him use different masks that give him different abilities based off of Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Maybe throughout the match you can choose between 3, and each one gives you like a Shulk's Monado Arts ability that only lasts for like a short amount of time. And obviously each one of them would give you a different ability. Also, to see his Final Smash incorporate Fierce Deity Link in some way would be neat. I think that's better than the pretty generic one he has now. Kind of similar to Young Link, Toon Link. I think if he comes back in the next Smash game, should really be there so you can have kind of a classic Link moveset in Smash Bros, and Link can kind of have his newer, updated moveset. If he does come back and he does need to be changed, this is what I do. I think he needs more references to Wind Waker and the other Zelda games with that art style that he has. His up special should be able to be moved. He has that move like that's in Link's up special, but he like kind of like moves around crazy on the ground, has some control with it. So I've also seen some mods give him that hammer thing that he has. I'll put it on screen, and that'd be used for probably like a forward smash. His Final Smash, like Young Link, should also be changed to something not nearly as generic as the one he has now. Maybe a cutscene involving the Wind Waker. Maybe he makes his opponents like walk the plank into like some sea monster, a whirlpool or something. Now, I am not a Pokemon guy, but I did think of this one change for the Pokemon trainer. I think that it's cool that they have like triple finish like they all do for Final Smash. I think that's neat, but I do think it would be cool if you had a different Final Smash for each Pokemon in the Pokemon Trainer moveset. So just like how Pyra and Mythra have different Final Smashes, so should Squirtle, Ivysaur, and Charizard. Maybe give Charizard his Final Smash from Smash 4. Probably be more like a cutscene because of how Ultimate decided to streamline Final Smashes. But yeah, they should all have their own Final Smash. Just to kind of further emphasize, these are all different characters that you can switch between. I think that would be neat to be like, to get a Smash Ball and then change to whoever has your favorite Final Smash. They could go a similar route to Pyra and Mythra, where, you know, Mythra's racks up damage and Pyra's, you know, kind of goes for the kill a bit more and it's strong. Maybe they could have similar uses to that. Maybe Charizard is really strong, Ivysaur's racks up damage, and maybe Squirtle's kind of tries to just push fighters off the stage, you know, to get an early kill. Something I see with Pokemon in general is people wanting their shiny alts. So if there's any way we get shiny alts in the next Smash Bros game, that'd be cool. And that's really it for Pokemon right now. Lucas, the only thing I would change about Lucas is maybe giving him some different abilities from Ness, like his PK Fire works differently from Ness, and his up specials is the same as Ness, but slightly tweaked. Maybe just give him different abilities that do different things. I haven't played Mother 3 because it's not been localized, so I wouldn't know what those abilities are. But yeah, that and also localized Mother 3, those are the only things that I would do with Lucas if he does come back. Hey guys, Editor Jaren here. I forgot about Banjo, and I forgot to even write him in the script. I thought I did him already, but I didn't. I actually know a little bit about Banjo, so I'm gonna fire up a few things I thought off the top of my head that we could add to his moveset in Smash. The little backpack swing he does, I figured that would have been like an up special for him or something. It's not really in the game at all, and that's something I didn't expect. So I would go that maybe as an up special. Well, maybe not up special, maybe more of like a nair or up air or something like that. Maybe he could use some magic from Mumbo Jumbo. I don't know, maybe a new down special where he gets the power of some sort of random animal transformation for a brief while. Maybe that's some kind of meter that charges up, like a magic meter that charges up after a while, something like that. Something to give a reference to Mumbo Jumbo as a character, because I think he's pretty cool. Cool to see him have a reference in there somewhere. And finally, I think he needs a new alt based on his appearance in Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. Just kidding, nobody liked that game. Let's never bring it up again. I shouldn't have brought it up. We'll never bring it up again. I'm sorry for bringing it up. My bad. I think that's pretty much it. I kind of like how Banjo plays in Smash, so just had a couple things, but I thought I'd go ahead and at least talk about Banjo a little bit. If you do have any recommendations on what should be added to his moveset, please leave them down in the comments. Okay, bye. Now I'm going to end this video off with characters who I don't think need really any changes in the next Smash Bros. Game. Got well-made movesets, and they don't really need to be changed, but I'm going to go ahead and go through them real quick for you. There's characters who I don't think need to be changed really at all. Joker, Hero, Terry, Byleth, Min, Sephiroth, Kaguya, Ryu, Ken, Cloud, and Bayonetta. These are all characters that I think have well-made movesets, and they really shouldn't be altered that much if they are to come back in the next Smash Bros. Game. Outside of maybe some minor tweaks or cosmetic changes. And yes, that even includes Min. I know people like to hate on Min because she's not fun to play against or even really play, but she does feel like she came straight out of her series. Feels like you're playing ARMS when you play as her character. So for all of these characters, I'm gonna throw it to you guys. Let me know what you think should be changed about them in the next Smash game and what you would do. Be as specific as you want. I've seen people on recent videos in this series type out long paragraph comments, and that's what I encourage you to do. Type as much as you want. Give me some ideas, and I might use them and shout you out in my next video. Yeah, let me know. And any characters on this list too that I maybe didn't cover or I have covered in the past but I didn't mention a certain thing, please let me know what you would do to change their moveset. I want to hear your ideas in the comments, so get creative and let me know. But that's really all I've got for this video today. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. My next video, I'll be covering a lot of characters I'm familiar with, so I'll have to do a little bit more research than I did in the past 3 videos, so bear with me. I don't know when that's coming out. Especially if you've got ideas for Pokemon and Fire Emblem, Xenoblade, let me know in the comments. Please help me out here. I'm struggling a little bit. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. So bye. Guess what I get to do today? Today we get to do a video that I put off for a long time because, let's face it, I don't know anything about these franchises. So as some of you may know, I've already made videos fixing the Smash Bros. Roster as it is an Ultimate. But today it's finally time to actually finish the job. This is a video I've put off writing or making for a couple of reasons. Number 1, these videos take time and effort to cut down. 2, I don't know anything about Fire Emblem or Pokemon except for how they play in Smash. And would you take a look at who's left on my roster to fix? It's all Pokemon and Fire Emblem. But I really wanted to finish the series, and I do have some other characters I still have to fix. So it won't just be all Pokemon and Fire Emblem, thankfully for me, and for probably you watching as a Fire Emblem fan or Pokemon fan. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. So let's go ahead and get into the stragglers from the last couple of videos I've made on this topic. Let's talk about Star Fox. Fox, Falco, and Wolf are primarily shown in their games and their vehicles. And a lot of their moves, aka Fox's moves, are all mainly made up for Smash. So how would I improve their movesets? Well, first of all, they just need to be diversified a little bit more. They do a better job of that in Ultimate as opposed to previous Smash games. My first idea was giving them all abilities from Star Fox Assault, a game where you can actually play as those characters and not just the vehicles that they're in. Fox uses some machine guns, blasters, bombs, and those weapons could all be incorporated into any of these three characters' movesets, since they all borrow quite a bit from Fox's main moveset. But that's not the main thing that I want to see changed for the Star Fox characters in the next Smash Bros. Game. All the Star Fox characters in Smash technically use moves and abilities that their whole team should have access to. So why don't we get some peppy hair alts for Fox, some slippy alts for Falco, and Wolf can get some alts for either one of these guys. Obviously some aerials and tilts would probably have to be changed, not for like specific alts or anything, but just in general for the next game for this skin idea to even work. But I think it would represent the Star Fox series a little bit better, and you would have access technically to quite a few more characters. Also, this might be a hot take, but I kind of missed the Landmaster. I get why the Final Smash was changed, being the Ultimate changed a whole lot about how Final Smashes work, but I think the Landmaster needs to make a comeback, just not in the same way. Call this crazy or chaotic in the comments, but I don't care. I want a meter that slowly fills up throughout the game, and when the meter is filled up, the Landmaster is summoned. Obviously, it might need to be reworked and resized to be balanced at all. And this would be a temporary attack option. It would probably last for 15 to 20 seconds. So it's just a scaled down temporary Landmaster. And maybe it's OP, maybe it's broken, but it sounds really fun. Now we're going to move on to some characters that had to be changed going into Smash Wii U from Smash Bros. Brawl. Characters that were separated from the main character they were supposed to be attached to, and that is Zero Suit Samus and Sheik. And I really don't have much to say for these guys, other than I want them to be rejoined with their original characters that they were removed from in Smash 4. I know that people like playing with these characters individually, and I understand that, but maybe there could be an option to play with these characters by themselves or reattach to their original characters. There would obviously have to be some changes from how it worked in Brawl. Obviously, I don't think that you should only be able to use Zero Suit once you've used Samus's Final Smash, being that most Smash Bros played, at least in a competitive setting, are done with Final Smashes off. So I don't know how that would work. So there needs to be some other mechanic of switching to Zero Suit, so you have to switch to Zero Suit to get normal Samus back. Maybe a mechanic where her power suit's energy gets drained, so you have to switch to Zero Suit Samus as a default, but I don't know exactly what would have worked best. Please leave your best ideas in the comments, because I'm not exactly sure how that would work. And Sheik obviously would just go back to being Zelda's down B, which sucks because I really like Zelda's current down B, so maybe we could make it to where they switch if you hold shield and B. That way you can switch and still have the moves that they currently have in Smash Ultimate. They just need to make sure that one of them is not broken and the other one sucks, like how it was in Melee, because that was a whole mess. People would only pick Zelda to down B immediately and switch to Sheik. So if they get rejoined in this next game, they need to be pretty balanced for that to work. For Mega Man, I don't have much on him. I honestly think he's a well-designed character and doesn't need a whole lot of changes. Maybe just some different alts. Maybe give him Mega Man X as an alt, or a Proto Man based alt, or a base based alt. There's a lot more you can do with Mega Man's alts than I think Ultimate does, so that's the main complaint I have with him, but other than that, I think he's a pretty well designed character and doesn't really need a whole lot of changes. Palutena could get some of her canned custom moves from Smash 4, some examples of that being Heavenly Light, Super Speed, Rocket Jump, and Angelic Missile. Inkling's interesting because they're obviously a very new character, and I think they're pretty well designed. I think if we get new weapons from the newer Splatoon games, they're going to be in a form of a Octoling moveset or a second Splatoon Reps moveset, but if not, it would be cool to see some weapons from Splatoon 3, as well as some Octoling alts. Use weapons like the Splatter Scope, the Splatbrella, the Splatinus Stamper. I really love the Splatoon Splatoon's developers' commitment to the bit of naming weapons and having most of them start with Splat. But really, any unused Splatoon weapon from the Splatoon games could be incorporated in their moveset. Those are just some of the ones I thought of. Now we're on to Xenoblade. Pyra and Mithra. They are two of the newest characters in Smash, so I don't want to change a whole lot. However, there are some things that could be added in the next game to even more improve their moveset. I think adding Rex to some smash attacks would also be cool, being that he's already in their final smashes. It would be cool to also see him in the background cheering on Pyra and Mithra. Also, I know they both have separate final smashes, but I thought it'd be cool to have a third one where they're both together. So it'd be kind of a mix of racking up damage, and then Pyra comes in for the KO. My Xenoblade playing roommate also suggested a Numa final smash, or a Numa being in their final smash, so that could also be an option. Hulk also has a very well-designed moveset. They did upgrade it from Smash 4 to Ultimate, making it to where you could switch the Manana arts in kind of a wheel instead of just cycling through them. So any quality of life change like that could be made in the next game. I don't know what that would be. I don't play Shulk. But anything like that, really, anything else, I don't think he really needs it. He's a pretty well designed character. Maybe just give him his updated look in Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and that's really it. That's really all you need to do. And now for the part I've been dreading. Let's start with Pokemon, and let's start with some easy changes. Every Pokemon here needs to have a shiny alt. Pokemon fans have been asking for that forever, to have actual shiny alts as alternate costumes in Smash Bros. So hopefully we can get at least some in this next game. That'd be cool. So I'm going to be real with you here. I don't know a lot about Pokemon, and I didn't want to go taking other people's ideas and passing them off my own, or just using other people's ideas and saying, oh, they had a good idea, check this out. So I tried to think of one on my own without knowing a whole lot about Pokemon. So I had an idea, and if you don't like this idea, I'm very sorry. Hear me out on this one. Pokemon in Pokemon evolve. So I thought it'd be a cool idea for each Pokemon to be able to evolve mid-match. Whether that's some Pokemon changing into their fully evolved versions on the third stock, or maybe there's a meter that has to be filled up and they can evolve for a limited time and then go back to their default Pokemon. Or maybe there's one character that can evolve from the base level version. You have Charizard's Charmander, can evolve over the match based on racking up damage or something like that, into Charizard. Then you get to Charizard and you're evolving. Then you get to Charizard and you're racking up damage with Charizard. And then you evolve to his final evolution. Editor Jaren here. I didn't realize that Charizard wasn't the fully evolved version of Charmander, so just ignore that. Something like that, either a new character like that, or maybe going back and changing some of these characters to do that in this next game would be really cool. I know we have Pokemon Trainer who you can freely switch between 3 different types of Pokemon, and all of those Pokemon are in different evolution levels. Some of those Pokemon either switching to their fully evolved versions, or maybe evolving as the match goes on. I think that's a pretty cool idea, either for all of these Pokemon characters or at least one of them. I know I'm not harping on a specific Pokemon or a specific character that could use that. It's just an idea I had. I'm sure there's a whole lot of moves that just don't get used in Smash Bros when it comes to Pokemon. So please, if you play Pokemon, please leave a change you would make to your favorite Pokemon in Smash in the comments, because I just had this one idea really for Pokemon, because I do not play Pokemon. I've said that probably 10 times in this video, and I'm stalling, and now I have to get to... The main problem I have with Fire Emblem is there's a lot of characters that play exactly the same or way too similar. There's a good 4 in the game that have basically the same moveset. I know Chrom has a different up B, Lucina doesn't have tippers and Marth does, and Roy's got fiery effects and isn't as good in the air as Marth, and there's obviously differences, but it's very obvious. Roy was designed after Marth, and then Roy wasn't in Smash 4, so Lucina was designed after Marth. And then Chrom was designed after Roy when he came back from Smash 4. Like, it's very obvious. They have very similar and basically the same moves in some cases, like some of their aerials and stuff. They may have different properties, but they're essentially the same move, the same animation. I think that's the problem. That's why people kind of hated on the Fire Emblem characters that came out. There's some really unique characters like Robin, like Corrin, unfortunately. That's unfortunately a point I'm making right now. And also Byleth, that all play very uniquely and have cool movesets. And also Ike, by the way. Ike didn't do anything wrong. Ike also has a pretty unique moveset and a pretty cool moveset. But I honestly think Fire Emblem wouldn't be that hated in Smash if every character had a unique moveset and there wasn't 15 of them. So that being said, how do you change that? How do you fix that? Honestly, I think that Lucina could be a costume for Marth, that Chrom could be a costume for Marth, and that Roy could probably be a costume for Marth. And if you're not going to do that, you need to give them at least different special moves. Like, I know Roy has a different neutral B from Marth, and that's fine, but the side B is the same, the down B is the same, the up B is essentially very similar. It's not exactly the same, but it's pretty close. I think giving them different effects on tilts and aerials and stuff like that is fine, but I think the specials at least need to be somewhat different, at least a different animation. I don't play Fire Emblem, I don't know what that could be. I don't know, maybe Marth and Roy are very similar in Fire Emblem. I honestly have no idea. But in a fighting game, you need to have uniqueness. It's okay to have some similarity where it makes sense, like Villager and Isabelle, or Mario and Luigi. But when it comes to all these characters that a lot of American audiences aren't as familiar with, you really need to make them unique, and you really need to make them different from one another. Otherwise, they're just going to say, oh, it's a Fire Emblem character, so they all play the same. And that kind of discredits the work you did on Byleth and Corrin and Robin and Ike. So really what I want to see is those characters be changed, be different, be unique. That's all I really want. I think that's all that Smash fans really want from that. It doesn't have to be like a completely different character. It just needs to be different. And I think that's the main problem with Fire Emblem and Smash. I think part of me dreading this video was me dreading going through every single Fire Emblem character and every single Pokemon to give them new moves and attacks and stuff. But really, it's more of a premise thing with Fire Emblem characters, and with Pokemon, I think I have a couple ideas, but I don't know what exactly you could do with Pokemon and Smash, and that's where you guys come in. Please let me know what you would do with Pokemon and Smash and what you would do with Fire Emblem and Smash, because I don't know squat about either of them. Also, here's a list of characters in the last video I made of this series who I said didn't need to be changed and didn't need to be fixed. I'm going to put them on the screen right now. Tell me what you would do to change these characters. I would really like to know. Because there's a lot of characters I didn't have ideas for, or just couldn't think of a reason why they needed to be changed because I thought their moveset was already pretty solid. So please let me know. Mega Man 2, let me know any of those characters, if they can be changed, how you would change them in the comments below. But we are finally finished. Obviously, I didn't get to cover as much characters in detail as some of the characters I was most familiar with, but I tried my best, and I'm leaving the rest up to you guys. If you guys want to suggest any kinds of changes, please let me know. If I get enough comments, I probably will go ahead and make a video going over all of the different suggestions from you guys and reading them over and putting them out on this channel for other people to see your ideas. So I would be totally down. Please, even the characters that I've covered so far, please leave your suggestions in the comments. I would love to make a video that just puts all of your guys' ideas out there. That'd be so much fun. We did finally get through every single character in Smash Ultimate, and we fixed them. Very excited to move on and possibly fix other parts of Smash Bros. So thank you guys for watching so much, and I will see you guys next time. Before I go, just remember, Goku will never be in Smash. Yeah, that's kind of mean. I mean, Goku could be in Smash. Hi, you actually watched to the end, and that's pretty cool. Even if you skipped to the end, maybe you didn't watch all of it, but you skipped to the end to see what I would say for some reason right now. But anyway, you're here. I want to thank you a lot for being here, for being at the end. Whether you watched it or skipped to the end, whatever, I don't care. You're here, and that's pretty cool. If you enjoyed that video and you want to see longer compilations, or you just want to see more moveset changes or Smash Bros changes, or just Smash Bros videos in general, then you should subscribe to this channel. That's kind of what I do. That, along with a lot of Nintendo news sprinkled in there, you know. But yeah, if you like this kind of content, make sure to like the video so the algorithm and YouTube knows that you enjoyed it. And also give me a sub, you know, throw a sub my way. That way you don't miss any kind of content that I upload. Comment down any moves that you would change, whatever you got, leave them down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching so much, and I'll see you next time. Plan for right now is the next video to be me changing a character's moveset, but doing the full moveset. So if you want to see something like that, stay tuned. The character I'm fixing in that video